So I just rotated these objects into a vertical position so I could begin to see them within the context of the section. So you'll see that I have exploded my objects and just extracted a single profile. That way I can easily move them around within the space and begin to see the kind of effect that they're having just as a sort of simple shape. And I'll later make those three-dimensional again. And you'll see that that long bar that I'm so enamored with, I've rotated it into a couple of orientations. So it may be a really beautiful profile for a roof, and it may also be a really elegant profile for a curtain wall, a glass wall. And I know that I'm looking for a kind of idea about that glass wall that I want to use to fill in. So I think I may use two different applications of that one profile. And I'm going to start to make these objects three-dimensional again as I'm working through this. One of the tools that you might like and that I think several of you have found is revolve. So if you set up an axis and take a profile, you can sort of spin it on that axis and create something that has the shape in the round. I'm also going to use my sort of familiar extrude tools and start to give things a little bit more thickness so that I can, kind of see what those things are going to feel like with a little bit more body and materiality. So I like the idea of that bent frame as a structure for a curtain wall. So I'm going to go ahead and relocate that object to be at an intersection with the wall, and I'm going to reset the gumball so that I can move it very easily. If I expand it or want to slide it along that plane, the gumball will facilitate that kind of change. And I'm thinking that I will turn this into a structure for a glass wall that will work very beautifully. I want to check some of my assumptions by bringing the building back into the site. I had forgotten that I have this large bar here, which I could, alter, but I really do kind of like the way that this object gets anchored into it. But it does mean my little bullet figure won't work quite as well where I thought it was going to be, although I really love it here, kind of as an embedded figure in the field, and I could duplicate that and begin to make a sort of series of silos. I'm also noticing that I've extruded my roof somewhat to align with the columns so that it can begin to sort of suggest a condition of structure. But if I look at this and think about it structurally, it is more stable and probably a little bit smarter structurally to have one of the support points be at this kind of point of thickness in the structural section. So I think I'm going to both lift that roof a little taller, but I'm also going to push it in so that it is supported on the columns. I'm going to complete this roof form over my stair. I'm using my embedded nest figure. I'm actually bringing it up through the ceiling plane as well. Right now I don't think I have a great location. Looks like it's intersected with my stair, but I'm going to bring it up and create a kind of skylight where I'm cutting through. So it'll be a sort of nest on the interior, but more of a sort of shaped section or hole on the roof. And I'm going to use my Boolean operations to kind of remove material that is not working. I have decided once and for finally to at least hide that. I guess that's not final, but I've hidden it. I see that my glass wall is not going to be quite in the right position right now, so I'm going to sort of push that down and begin to push that in. And I'm also noticing that I'm going to have a really interesting situation with this stair here, which I may just want to eliminate and think about kind of an entry for the building underneath a beautiful glass canopy. I may even push my canopy out. I may push this floor out to begin to sort of pronounce that entry. I may cut a higher section in this space so that when I enter, I'm really kind of in this tall volume. So, as you begin to kind of position the pieces, you may want to think about the overall composition. Again, we're trying to create a sectionally diverse condition that we can begin to cut floor plans and sections through for our next set of drawing exercises, which will include lights and rendering with materials.